Today, what you can expect is the agenda that you can see on your screen. So I just like to start saying that Mathcad is a software that's been a preferred tool of engineers since 1986, so pretty old, but useful. It's a very simple software, yet very, very powerful. Anything you can imagine that you can do with pen and paper and a calculator as an engineer, you can do in Mathcad, and we'll show you that a bit later. The first part of our agenda is focused on Mathcad versus spreadsheets. And before we go through the agenda, we'd like to run a poll just to see how many of you are already using Mathcad. So please, if you will, answer the poll. So we're collecting the responses, and we can already now see that some of you are using Mathcad today. This is today's agenda, and today with me, you heard, I have our technical expert on Mathcad, our Mathcad guru, if you will, Magnus, who will go through this agenda with you. Thank you for your attention. Magnus, take it away.
Okay, I've prepared a Mathcad worksheet here, and as the topic is Mathcad versus spreadsheets, I tried to find an example to use, and I saw this on the other side of the street on the school playground, and this reminded me of an example I used to use earlier. And obviously this is called a frustum, so I found that Wikipedia page. I've got a link here in my Mathcad worksheet. So looking at this page, trying to find something that looks a bit more complicated than basic formulas, and I settled on this one, the surface area of a frustum. And they have 4 inputs here: the 2 sides, and the height, that's h here, and the number of sides. So basically some sort of thing like this. So
you're going to show this as this formula in both Excel or a spreadsheet, in both the spreadsheet and Mathcad?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes, so I also made a Mathcad 3D plot out of this just to explain the variable.
Yeah, now you're showing off, because you know, usually the users don't do drawings in Mathcad. They use a different drawing tool.
Yeah. So yeah, you probably shouldn't try to do things like this in Mathcad. But if you've used Mathcad in many years, maybe you think it's fun. But okay, let's just have a look at what this looks like in a spreadsheet. I'm using Excel. So here I got my 4 inputs, and here's the equation. And let's just copy and paste that one into Mathcad in a text box. So basically what we are saying is that this is not how you want to see math. We want to see it more like that on that Wikipedia page, and I made a picture out of it so I can import it. So let's see, in images should be this one. Yeah, so I have something here to compare with. So basically this is how we want to see math. This is how we write it with pen and paper. This is the spreadsheet or programming way of expressing equations. Not that fun to read, and really easy to make mistakes. And we have a better option then. So I've hidden the Mathcad way here. So copy paste that one in. So in Mathcad it looks like this. Basically the same, right? It looks almost exactly as what you can see on this formula on the Wikipedia page. And I want to compare this with this calculation. So let's see if I can maybe make this a bit smaller here, so I can see it at the same time. So if I try to calculate this in Mathcad, just to show you how it works in Mathcad, I just press equal. I can now see that I probably have the wrong keyboard settings. Swedish keyboard. Equal, yeah. So then Mathcad says this one is undefined. So basically, I just need to say that, okay, n should be 4. And now it's complaining about that a1. A1 should be 135, and a2 should be 55, and still complaining, h is 157. And now I got the result, and it's the same result. As you can see, I can format this result if I want to. Math formatting, setting to decimal format, and maybe even without any decimals, then I have the exact same value. Now I can see a green thing around my h, that just Mathcad telling me that h is redefined because it's a built-in variable. I can switch that off. I don't want to see warnings here. But we can do more than that in Mathcad. One other really nice feature in Mathcad is that we can use units on all our values. And basically, we can't do that in spreadsheets. If I change something here saying this is in meters, meter, and whatever, decimeter, nothing will change. Would require complicated programming in spreadsheets to figure out units and things like that. But in
this is actually one of the favorite features of many engineers. You know, that Mathcad just takes care of units. You don't even worry.
And it's also easy to find mistakes. So if I add centimeters to this 135 value here, I will get an error here, because then in this sum here, I'm trying to add something with centimeters with something that's units less. So I need to add a length to this one as well, 55 centimeters. Then it complains on this one because this is now without any units, but I just need to add centimeters here as well. And then everything works fine. And now I can see that I removed all the decimals, but maybe I should just remove that one and make this into a definition instead. So basically saying this is the area here, and evaluate the area, and you will see that the default setting is to I've got SI settings on my in Mathcad now unit system. We can switch to the US system or the old CGS, but I use SI, and there we have meter as the length default unit. I can evaluate again and say, okay, I want it in centimeters squared instead, and maybe then format this in decimals. So really easy to change the units. I can even, let's say I've got help of someone else who's more familiar with the inches and the feet and things like that, then maybe that one would say that the height was 5 feet, and that's not a problem. We can mix length units. Everything is converted internally into meters anyway, so no problem. And even saying, okay, I want the result in feet square. So that's basically what we want to say when we say the difference between Mathcad and spreadsheets. It's much easier to see what you do when you're making sort of a documentation as you go along. You don't have to do it twice, and it's really easy to follow the calculation.
And how was it that it showed you errors? Because I know it's difficult in spreadsheets to see errors or find them if they're.
Yeah, so basically, if I move this one down, here h is not defined, then it tells me.
And it tells you, yeah.
I click on this one, the red one, matrix must be squared. That's a kind of a strange error, but that's just because this H has a value here. It's something I've used to create that picture. That was not my plan really, but okay. So I think in a blank worksheet, I think H has a value. I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of constant, Planck's constants. Yeah. So we have a lot of built-in things. That's why sometimes error messages can be a bit hard to understand, but normally it just tells you, like in this case, if I move this one, it's just undefined. So that was my first part here, Mathcad versus spreadsheets. I will come back to a lot of details around this later on.
But Magnus, isn't it true that a lot of engineers like to use both Mathcad in addition to spreadsheets?
Definitely. Especially if we talk about Excel. So we have a few features, and I will show some of them later. I even got that on my agenda here, working together with Excel. So with Mathcad nowadays, we can use Excel functionality in our worksheets. I hope I will have time to show that. But my next step here is to show a few completed worksheets and then going into the smaller details on how it's done in Mathcad. So I got
a worksheet is something that is in Mathcad, or it's a document, a Mathcad document. That's what I would show. Worksheet.
Yes, Mathcad documents. Yeah, Mathcad worksheets. So first, a kind of a simple one, not that many pages. It's 7 pages, and it's kind of a typical Mathcad document as I see it. Something about distributed load and no advanced math, but a very good example on how this is both a calculation and a documentation at the same time. You can just print this out, maybe switching off the grid and things like that to make it look really nice, and show it to others, and they can understand all calculation if they understand this area of engineering. And
yes, send it to your customers as documentation. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
You can insert a logo and stuff like that, right? As a company, so you can provide the.
Yes, I have that in the next example. I think this.
Oh, sorry.
This one is an empty header. Anyway, this worksheet, it's a simple one. Some 6 inputs in the beginning with units, with a bit more fancy formatting than in the default one. So I've created those ones, and yeah, calculations, some math, some integrals anyway, some pictures showing the results, and I know that at the end there, there's some plots as well, hopefully showing some interesting results. Anyway, a simple one. My next example is a bit more complicated because it's done for presentations, and they've added. I've been involved in creating this worksheet, adding a few things, but sort of just pushing a lot of Mathcad features into the same worksheet, but at the same time showing some real calculation on shaft bearings here. So we can see pictures, we can see units, formatting features, calculation, and yeah, this is the pictures that they're always just copy pasted in. We don't do anything with pictures in Mathcad.
But does Mathcad work together with other CAD tools like Creo, SolidWorks?
Yes. At the end of this worksheet, there's some example on that. Even if I am not running any CAD software on this computer. Mm-hmm. But here's an example on programming in Mathcad. Here's a table. Here's a drop-down list called combo box in Mathcad, where you can restrict your inputs. And Here's the results in a table format, and here's that example on how to use Excel components. So we can't do colorful output tables in Mathcad. So then it's nice to use Excel, where we can use conditional formatting and put colors and fonts and everything. So this is Excel. So basically an input section saying I want to send these values into the Excel worksheet to different cells and so on. And then, yeah, here's the calculations repeated, but more for an example on how to connect this to Creo. So you can see these boxes in and maybe some out somewhere where we can send values to another software, in this case Creo, to update. Then this picture would be updated. And some plots at the end showing some results. So yeah.
Magnus, I have a question here. If you're
Sure.
time.
I hope it's not about this calculator. I'm not an engineer.
What's the best way to resize picture pasted into Mathcad? In my experience, is that they often get lower resolution, bad quality if you size down.
Yeah, maybe we don't have any other option than just these handles here. So making them smaller and as I see it, it's often better to change the size in the drawing software and copy paste it in 100% and not change the format, the size inside of Mathcad. That often looks best. There's no feature in Mathcad other than just doing this.
Okay, thank you.
That was my example worksheets anyway, just to show a few completed ones, because my next step will be to go into the smaller details of how to enter things in Mathcad and what we can do in Mathcad, and it will be kind of fast. I will sort of in maybe 20 minutes try to do what I normally do in a one-day training. So, but please interrupt me and ask questions. That's not a problem. I will use my link. I'm using Mathcad all the time here. Now I'm using these internal link feature that we got in Prime 9. So I can click here.
I noticed you're not using PowerPoint for the agenda.
No, I'm allergic to PowerPoint. So
let's add Mathcad Guru.
Maybe doing things that I shouldn't do in Mathcad, but anyway, let's go to the simple things in Mathcad. We can of course add text. You've seen text objects, and this is a text object. It's called a text block. This one occupies the page width, but the normal text ones is just called a text box. So this is text. And everything in Mathcad, it's a region. You can move it around and resize it and things like that. But as you've seen, we can also have images. You can just copy and paste it in, or you can click on this image button to browse for an image. So let's say I want that picture. I think it was used in that example worksheet. So yeah, quick and easy. Writing math is also easy if you just learn a few things, especially that you're supposed to use the space bar a lot. So let's just enter some simple equations. 1 + 2. If I use the space bar, I can now divide this with 3. I can select again, multiply by 4 + 5. Let's select again, and now I'm going to press a multiplication sign, and then you see that I need parentheses, but this is added automatically. I just add that one, and Mathcad understands the math. So yeah, kind of easy. And then I thought that why not spend a few extra minutes on entering that equation. I had that in the beginning, this one. Copy, paste, just to show you that it's easy to enter this in Mathcad. Maybe even as a definition, area equals n divided by 4 space multiplication. I can put that parenthesis in if I want to. A with a subscript of 1 squared plus A2 squared. Select this, multiply with cotangent, cotangent P, Control G, divide by N, and then get out of that one to get an addition, and square root A1 squared minus A2 squared, that squared multiplied by this second function. And in Mathcad we need the parentheses to our functions. So
you're using your keyboard a lot. What if we have different keyboards?
yes, the shortcuts works. But if you're on the Scandinavian keyboard like me, I have an extra page for that. But in Mathcad we have a list of all the keyboard shortcuts here. If I've got the original one here, so yeah, a lot of keyboard shortcuts. But you can also see them here in math and operators. Here's the operator. So if you don't want to learn shortcut keys, you can click here instead, or you can see shortcut keys. So division, where's my square root? It's there. Backslash is the shortcut for square root. So yeah, I guess I've learned a few shortcut keys. Plus 4 times h squared, squared, multiplied by a1 plus a2 squared. Yeah. So that did not take that much time, and I basically only used my keyboard and a lot of space. So writing math is easy to learn and easy to use. And of course, if I have something like this, I can definitely just calculate it by pressing equal. And I don't have to press equal any more time because everything is automatic. So if I change anything here, everything is updated. It's easy to replace operators. I click on this minus and press plus, and I get another result. So easy to use the calculations. We have more features here. We can stop calculations, we can disable calculations and things like that. But normal usage is just press equal. We can do other calculations, like if I calculate this, you will see that Mathcad understands complex values. I can use I or J for that. So software like this must of course understand complex values. I can and you can see in the operators we have most of the operators we're used to in math. So let's use some integral, maybe x squared x equals. And we can also, maybe I need some more space for that, but maybe I want to show a bit more advanced things, like we have something called solve blocks in Mathcad. That's the Mathcad name for system of equations. So let's say I have a simple system of equations here. let's just use a circle, and let's put a line in here. Plus 3 times y equals 4. Put some guess values in. Let's not think that much about it, and then just say find x and y. So I get a result, and I can copy paste this one to try out other inputs to see if I can find the second answer. Oh, there's the second. It should be 2. A line through a circle should have 2 or none answer. We also have the variables, of course. I already used area as a variable, but often in math or engineering, maybe you use simple names like A and B, and then you can use those in your calculations. But we can also use longer names. So let's say I want to have length as a value like this. I can also use part of the variable name subscripted. So it's this subscript feature here, control minus. So maybe I have some inner length that has a value. So a really popular feature in engineering, using those subscripts. And I think, yeah, in that shaft bearing example, we had this combo box. So let's make a combo box. So I say that let's use then D maybe, and say that now I would just call this 1, 2, 3 here. So just to have some sort of list and values for these ones. And now you can see D is 9. If I choose something else, and I can, in this case, I can have more than one column. So let's say maybe some decimal value here, just some random numbers. So you can see that then I will get 2 values as an output for every choice here. And also using units, that's let's say this in millimeters and this in newtons. I will talk more about units later. Of course, we not only have operators for math functionality, we also have a lot of functions, not only things like sine. We have a lot of others. We have a specific tab here for functions. Here's 12 categories, but if you want to see all of them, you click on this one, and here you can see all of the categories. I think we have something like 800 or 900 functions in Mathcad. Let's just pick some random numbers maybe. Where's my random numbers? Normally distributed random numbers. I want 7 random numbers, mean 0, standard deviation 1. Here's the one. I click on F5 to recalculate. And of course, this could be 7 million values and so on, but yeah. Easy to use functions. We can also create our own functions, just like this. So the f of, like a school example, they're always calling the function f and the internal variable x squared plus 3 times x minus 7 or something. Now I can use f in my calculation. F of 3, f of 24, f of 3 plus 6i, just to show complex numbers again. And in this case, maybe it would be a good idea to go back to my, where's my, that I spent some time doing. I'm not going to enter it again. I'm just copy and pasting it. So this one could be a function just adding n, a1, a2, and age. So now I've got sort of a standalone function and can enter values here, 3, 4, 5, 6, getting a result. In Mathcad, we can use vectors and matrices, and even if you're not using that kind of math, then you will probably need to use them anyway, because that's the Mathcad way of storing data. In a spreadsheet, we select cells like this. Here I'm selecting 4 cells. Okay, maybe I can show that I can copy and paste that into Mathcad. It's going to be a table in Mathcad. Then I can copy that table, and I've now got a vector. So this is a vector in Mathcad. It's easy to create vectors in Mathcad. You just, or if you want to use the tools, maybe go insert matrix. Here's some value, a short one, maybe a matrix as well, 3 by 3. Then I can try some multiplication. If you remember things like this, this should not be allowed. No, but m times u is allowed. So Mathcad knows matrix algebra. Just do the math. And we can also use something that looks a bit like for loops in or loops in programming, but in Mathcad we call it ranges. So let's say I have y should be -2, then y is of course -2. But I can add 2 dots. That's called, let's see, we could click here instead, a range. So just typing in the start value and the end value, and this will be a list here of, in this case, 6 values. So whenever I use y in my calculations, I will get 6 answers. I can even put a comma in here to specify the second value. So if I want the step to be half, I need to enter -1.5 here. Then I will get, is it 11 values? And again, if I want to range it to 3 millions, it's not a problem. It's kind of fast. Let's go back. We also have plots. You saw a few examples in the example worksheets. Maybe I need some more space for this, so let's bring it to a new page. And sometimes it's easier. Yes, Sonia, you asked about that header thing.
Yes.
You just double click here and paste your picture in. So this is the
I can afford.
yeah. So it's easy to do. But when working in Mathcad, maybe you don't want to see the header and footer and margins and things like that. You can switch to draft view like this. Then you get rid of everything. Then it's just one large calculation area. So let's put in some example data to use when plotting. Why not? Oh, wrong key. Let's call xb. That's my x vector. Let's put in 1, 3, 5, 2, and I want a y vector. So this is like in school entering coordinates like this. So I expect then to plot the points 1, 2, and 3, 3, and so on. So go to plot. Here you can see we can do XY plots. That's my plan, but I could also do polar plots, contour plots, and 3D plots. So the y vector there and my x vector here, and I can maybe format it. I want it to be thicker and have some sort of symbol, and I want it to be dotted lines. Or we can plot functions. So I can't remember if I used X in this worksheet. Okay, X is a matrix, but I don't want to. So, but I know I defined the function f, so let's use f of t, because I know that if I use an undefined variable, Mathcad will find the x values for me. So it's plotted from -10 to 10 in this case. Maybe I want to compare this with 100 times cosine of t or something. I want that one to be red. So the native plotting in Mathcad is really easy and quick to do. If you want to do more advanced XY plots, we have another tool called chart component. There you can spend hours to make everything look exactly as you want. Why not have a simple school example on a 3D plot? So this one is in all school books when talking about more than one variable. So
did you use the 3D plots in the picture in the beginning?
yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
Not supposed to do that. So this is a better example, sort of. Okay, this is maybe add some color. Maybe switch that one to minus to see. Okay, then we get this saddle curve. Yes, in the beginning, this one it is a 3D plot in Mathcad, and I've used a few matrices here to just make this as a picture. Don't do this in Mathcad. But units, definitely use units in your calculations. I'm moving on to that one. So we can use units in everywhere. So let's just do, I have a 2 kilowatt charger for my car. And let's see, it's 230 volt in the outlet. Okay. It's okay with a 10 ampere fuse. Mathcad knows the units. We have this list of built-in units here on, and if we need more of the units than this, we can define it ourselves. So it's not a problem. I can go back to this example here. If I wanted to, this was 150 something, 157 centimeters, so that must be 15.7 decimeters. Then I would see, okay, decimeter is not built into Mathcad. Okay, decimeter, use it as a unit, should be 0.1 meter, and then everything works. So now
Can you hide that definition?
Yeah, if I just move it over here, it's hidden.
Okay.
So then no one would see it. Or I could just cut it out and put it in an area like this, paste it in, and hide that.
So that's not shown when you're doing documentation?
If you don't want to show it, you can definitely hide it.
Okay.
That's the old way of doing that, is just to put it on the right side of the right margin, then it will not be printed. But now we have areas, so maybe areas is a better way of doing it. Back to my units. Yeah, we can use my standard example on this is using myself here. So let's see, mass is 75 kilograms. That's me.
And that's a revelation.
I'm in Uppsala, north of Stockholm. I think it's 9.82 meters per square second, I think. And I can calculate the force then just by multiplying mass and acceleration. So force is then 736 newtons. Maybe I want to see it in kilonewtons. Maybe I want to see it in what is it called? the Americans like to use force, pound force. But of course, if I do something stupid, you've seen this error before. Maybe I should do it down here. Stupid equals mass plus acceleration, and I will get an error saying these units are not compatible. So I can't even make errors like this. Then, as I said before, I want to show how you can use Mathcad and Excel together. Maybe I should start because I prepared an Excel file here. So I got an Excel file, data from my pulse watch. So here's pulse values and altitude values, 162 values. I want to import that into Mathcad. For that, I don't have to have Excel on my computer. I can just import it anyway. And this function is very popular, so it's got its own button here. I can browse for, it's in my data folder. Okay, I want to import everything. Just calling it. Okay, spelling data. I don't need that extra argument here if I want to import everything, so I can, now it's cleaner. But now you can see I've got data as a matrix in Mathcad. It's formatted with decimal. So now I can use the data in Mathcad and do some plotting or whatever. But we can also use Excel functionality in Mathcad. So that's what I wanted to show. So let's I guess I'm reusing the same variable names a lot here. But let's say I have a vector, just to have something to send into Excel. Now I want to send this vector with 3 values into an Excel object. In Mathcad, it's called here input output Excel component. So insert Excel component. Now we can see something that looks a bit like Excel. You can right click here, insert expression. So let's put the first start in cell B2. So this is sort of me just entering those values into this Excel object. Now I can double click on it and work in Excel. So maybe this is Alfasoft and this is January, February, March or something. This is now and then just some sort of calculation in Excel. And in Excel, we can use formatting to make it look nice with colors and yeah, whatever. All the Excel features. Just close it and got back in Mathcad, maybe collapsing so I don't see the empty cells. Like this, collapsing my input section and output section. And you can see if I change anything here, it's automatically entered and recalculated in Excel. And I can even
do a table in Excel and just copy paste in Mathcad. You wouldn't do that.
No, then I don't have these features with colors and font and things like that, and then it will be static. But you can also grab values, so it's kind of popular to reuse complete large Excel worksheets just to copy and paste them into this component and grab values. So let's say B, I want to grab the values from D2 to D4. Now B. No, it should be C2 to C4. Otherwise, it will be empty like that. Yeah. So,
where is it grabbing it from? From the Excel sheet that you just closed?
Yeah, it's not an Excel sheet anymore. It's an Excel object inside of the Mathcad worksheet. So it's not running on any external file or anything. It's this object is inside of the Mathcad worksheet.
Okay.
So changing here, you can see it's changed in the Excel component and also in the outputs. Yeah, I think that was my plan, and took a few more minutes than I expected, but
Yeah, I was jumping in with questions, sorry.
no problem. But I think on my agenda, I have this question, comments, and suggestion, and then something about licensing, and that's your part.
Yes, but I think you missed one, example worksheets, which is maybe a good way to show people how they can kind of cheat a little bit in Mathcad and save some time.
Yeah, okay, that one. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's basically going to a PTC webpage, Mathcad.com, and saying here's some Mathcad worksheet that you can just download and try out yourself. So let's see if you want some differential equations, free worksheet, customer. Yeah, you can just browse around finding example worksheets and
yeah, so these are basically, you can use them as templates. There's also some for different types of engineering there.
Yeah,
so I'm sure
definitely just browse around. Now I got it. It was.
You're opening something.
Yes, let's see. I'm unzipped it and let's see what does this Rungekotta. I remember this Rungekotta from my school days. Now it's spell checking me. Let's switch off spell checking. Rungekotta Nyström. This is probably some Scandinavian guy missing an Ö. Yeah. I'm not going to go into any examples, but there's a lot. You can just go to mathcad.com and find resources there. A lot of things to download if you want to try out Mathcad and see what it can do. Did I miss anything more, Sonia?
No, I don't think so. Are there any questions, Finn, now while you switch to my screen? I can share.
Yeah, you want me to? Well, let's take the question first, just in case, and then I'll move over to you. And we do have one poll left, so let me know when you want to do that one.
Sure.
So let's see here. Can I run Mathcad if the workstation is not connected to a network?
Yes, maybe that's on licensing. There's two ways of licensing Mathcad. Either a locked license, then you have a license file, then you don't have to be connected to any network or internet or anything. But you can also use floating licenses if you're sort of a larger company and you want a few floating licenses and you want your 100 engineers have access to Mathcad, then a limited number of users can use it at the same time. That I'm using floating licenses here. And then obviously you need to be connected to that, to the network with server. Yeah, so it looks like this. So you can see in this case, how many users? It's one user using, that's me. Meklund. Yeah.
There's also a bit of a workaround on that one if that's enabled by the IT admin, and that is a borrow function, right?
Yes, so if you're allowed to, you can go here. If you're using floating licenses and you're allowed to by the administrator, you can borrow that license and go offline and on a trip or something. Then
so if you need to go on site with and just can't access your network, that's a good.
So now function. I borrowed this license for a week.
Yeah.
And if I get back earlier, I can go back and return that license.
And if you forget?
Then it will take a week until the license will get back to the pool.
Okay. Any more questions, Finn?
Yeah, so what's the difference, well, what's the main difference between Mathcad 15 and Mathcad Prime 9?
Oh,
Yeah, Mathcad 15 is the old version of Mathcad that many users know.
yeah, it's so many. But basically the functionality is the same, and it just looks old, and we know that it might stop working any day if Microsoft make changes to Windows. What we're still missing in Prime is we don't have these scripted controls, but we will get them in Prime 10 in March or something. So basically, if you got these ones and you use the scripting and things like that, I would not recommend this really, but I know it wasn't introduced in, I think, in Mathcad 7 back in 1997, if I remember correctly, and so it's been in Mathcad many years. But most of the other features should be there in sort of the same way. If you have specific questions around that, please just mail me and I can explain.
There's one more question. How about formatting? Say you want to make a PDF report of the calculations.
No, here you can save as a PDF file.
How does it look? Is there any formatting issues? Or?
No, it should look like if you print it. You can of course print it too, and if you have another PDF writer that you really like. So it's either way, should be fine. Just remember to maybe switch off the grid and things like that too.
All right. Yeah, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have to switch to my computer. Let's just stay here. We just want to ask you what the next step would be for you, because we have a great offer for everyone here today. If you see that Mathcad is something that you want to use and you want to purchase a license, we will include 1 hour of consultation with Magnus, so you can get started with Mathcad and feel safe using it. So let's run a poll. So you see here, if you want to try Mathcad, just free of charge for 30 days, you can do that. You just click the first option. Or if you already know that you want to purchase a Mathcad license, please click off the second option. Or the last one, if you have a Mathcad license, that's great. If you have any questions, Magnus shared his email, or you can send an email to us or call us. You can find our contact details on Alfasoft.com. You see results are coming in. While we wait, are there any more questions that we can answer on the fly? We have 3 more minutes.
There are some questions here. I assume we'll have to, it's too many to take right now, but let's see here. So Jan is asking, is it possible with Mathcad to have value and uncertainty and calculate with formulas and get as result a value and uncertainty? That was too advanced, I think, actually.
Yeah, so sort of a plus minus or plus minus 10% or something. No, we don't have that. Maybe I should show something else that I prepared. I showed a few features in Mathcad. That was the basic features. There's a lot of features I didn't show, like symbolic calculations and programming and the short component and importing. So I hope everyone understands that there's a lot more in Mathcad than what I showed. But that if I understand the question correctly, is sort of entering a value saying plus minus 10%. We don't have that.
Okay, so last one we'll take, and we will answer the rest of them later on. How about protecting parts of the worksheet so that users only have access to data input and result output without any risk of messing up the formulas?
It's a great question.
Yeah, so we can use areas for that document area like this. So let's say I have X3. I want users to be able to change these values and not messing around with the advanced math here. And maybe, I'm not sure, should I have the result here? I put the result outside. So basically now I can change values here and everything, and I can say that, okay, this one should be protected with a password XX. So now now it's not possible to click in here, but you can still use these ones. So the way we protect things in Mathcad is with an area. And in this case, the area is expanded. You can also collapse and it can contain as many pages as you want. So it could be a lot of calculations. So basically, maybe I need to unprotect this first. X, collapse it, say now I want to protect the area again. So now it's not even possible to see what's in here. Now it's all just magic. Maybe that's not what Mathcad is for. The best way is to show the calculations.
Okay, there are ticking in more questions. The thing is, like I said in the beginning, is that we will send out an email with answers to all the questions and also a recording of this. If you found it interesting, you can send that to your colleagues if you want, so that they can also see it. With that, I think we're done. So thank you, Sonia and Magnus, for this great presentation. And if anyone has any more questions, please send them to info@alfasoft.com and we'll make sure to answer them as best as we can.
Yeah, the questions that came in today will also include those with the recording, so keep an eye out for an email from Alfasoft.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for joining. Bye.
All right.